Thank you everybody for joining us today. We are here meeting as part of Reclaiming Technology Sessions, which is a series of events dedicated to research the intersection of feminism, art and technology. And today we are in Budapest in collaboration with the Adapter Space and Pro Progressione in the framework of Reclaiming Technology, a collaborative feminist approach project co-funded by the EU in the framework of European Digital Deal. As part of today's programmation, we prepared a talk with invited guests. The talk is on the topic Design, Time and Agency, Resisting the Imposed Narratives. And for this talk, we invited the designer and researcher Dominika Čupková and the mathematician and product designer Emese Thamó. My name is Silvia Binda and will moderate the talk. So thank you very much to both of you for being here today. First of all, let me introduce our dear guests. Dominika Čupková is an interdisciplinary designer connecting the dots between AI, art, design, and technology with experience in PR, marketing, and research. Currently, she's a visiting doctoral researcher at the Interactive Technologies Institute and the Academy of Fine Arts at the University of Lisbon. She is affiliated with the Academy of Fine Arts and Design in Bratislava, where she explores what happens at the intersection of AI and design through a feminist lens. She is also part of the global community AI X Design, where she leads communication, and she co-funded the Ladies, Wine and Design Slovakia initiative. Emese Thamó has a mathematics degree from the University of Cambridge. She has conducted research on AI explainability and safety at the University of Liverpool and applied AI in medical contexts at the Hungarian Institute of Computer Science and Control. Her professional journey spans roles as a software developer in the space industry, a consultant in banking and construction, and a lecturer at the Hungarian Center for Social Sciences. She is now completing her product design studies at the MOME University in Budapest and has interned at Mindrove, a company specializing in biosensors. Emese's multifaceted background enables her to approach challenges with a blend of technical expertise and creative vision. So thank you very much for both of you for being here today. And we are meeting today to discuss some aspects of technology, how technologies are designed, and how this affects our lives and our lived time. And we also would like to reflect on what agency we do have as the technology users. And especially when making conscious or maybe not so conscious decisions about technology-related activities, what technology we are using and what technologies we need. And because the OFDAC community, as well as the Reclaiming Technology Sessions event series, are platforms to intersect feminism, art, and technology, we are also always trying to introduce a critical and feminist perspective on the discussed matters. And especially in the technological and the computing realm, there are many aspects and mechanisms being obscured or mystified, and they are not always transparent, which is why is it important to try to reveal and scrutinize these hidden and not evident aspects, and also to put them in the context of our practice and not only our artistic and professional research practice, but also in the daily practice of our daily lives when practicing technologies. So my first question to start it for both of you would be, how do you personally approach the relation between technology and design? Because both of you engage with it very directly, but probably in with different nuances. So Dominika, to start with you, for you personally, where do these two concepts intersect? Is your mic on?
Okay, now. Very hardcore question for the beginning. But where does it intersect for me? it's even more problematic because I started in the technology and I was studying cybernetics and artificial intelligence, and then I also did 2 years of PhD that I didn't finish. Now we are revealing all the secrets, but because sometimes people in tech, they tend to look at the design as something like, or the department, not only design but also arts, as something a bit like less. And for me, being now in the both worlds, kind of, or experiencing both worlds, it's very interesting because I see also the art part is very important and bringing new things into it. So that's where I think it intersects, that for me, or at least for me, that now I can see both things, that how important it is to not to look down to the art people or like design people, because everyone can bring something. And especially it's like you should have diverse teams, or like interdisciplinary, not only like designers but also from, I don't know, psychology, biology, any different perspectives, because we all see the world in our specific way that we are trained into in the universities. And then only if we merge different groups, then I think we can have better. So not only art and design, or design and technology, but also different disciplines is where it happens.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And also because design is such a broad term at the end, no? Like you have design, software design, graphic design. So design is really everywhere around us and also embedded in the technologies. And also there is product design, which is Emese's focus, right?
Yes, so we have a very similar background with Dominika. So I also started from the sciences and maths and AI, and then I also started a PhD and I quit that. And then I'm doing product design now, mainly. And what I really liked in mathematics and in statistics and those like science, where like hardcore sciences, is that they had a logical structure, and I could like solve problems in a logical structure, but sometimes creative way. And what I do in design is very similar. So I really enjoy the creative problem solving part. That it does have a very structural element to it, but it's combined with a more creative and free flowing aspect, and I love that. And between like technology and design, I think there's like a two-way connection. So in design nowadays we use a lot of technologies, so it's a modern practice that we're involving more and more of the technological advancements. And in the other direction as well, in technology we can also use design when we develop technological products, digital or physical. We have to use design approaches to do that. And as you mentioned, I think ideally in a team, when we're working either on a technical or a design problem, we combine the knowledge of an interdisciplinary team and work together.
Also, many scholars in the sociology of technology claim that each technology has this power transmitted to its user, and that the design is sort of a practice of a world making or the world building. And those who have the access to design or the power to design, well, they actually shape our reality. What do you personally think? To what extent do designers, or also maybe from your experience, how much do you embed your own values, your own experiences, maybe even biases, and the worldviews in technologies that are being created or products that are being created? And is it even possible to avoid this, or is maybe the bias embedded in the technology a part and not necessarily a negative, as far as it is a reflection of the society itself? Dominika?
I think we should not be avoiding it. And even now that I'm working on my thesis and I'm reading a lot about something called embodied design, that it's always coming from us, and we should not be like avoiding that it has biases. Well, we should be aware of the biases, we should study them, and we should like be aware so we don't put them into the products, but it's always about the specific people designing specific things, and maybe one way to deal with it is to have the diversity, whatever that means, because also the term is a bit controversial, I don't know, recently, but to have a wide variety of opinions and not to deny that because I don't believe in the neutrality of technology. I don't believe that that exists, but also why we should strive for that. If we are not neutral, we are, each one of us, it's very different.
Yeah, I think how we are taught in school, and also from my experience, when we are designing a product, I mainly do physical products, so not the digital ones, but I think the process is very similar. So it's an iterative process where we test what we make with the potential users, and then based on those tests we change, and then ideally we include the people who we're designing for at the very beginning and throughout the process. But I think there's a big variety of how people do this, and a lot of biases can go into the process when I just start doing things because I think they are that way, and then maybe I do some testing, but it's already like later in the process, and then the outcome is much more biased. But that can be a good thing. So sometimes it's just a fun project. It can be, I don't know, it could be a game, a toy that I just think it's a good idea and people love it in the end. But in other cases, when I should really include I don't know, people with disabilities or elderly who are typically excluded from this process is much more. I think like co-designing and participatory design, so when we are actually designing together from the beginning and throughout, is much more important, because I think generally people have much more stereotypes on those groups and they have a smaller voice. So
yeah, absolutely. Also, that you mentioned like the target groups for which you are building or designing this product, to consider them, but probably the reality also in this very capitalist and profit-oriented society, where the company not necessarily think of the good of its user, but on profit. So even if we have this problematics present for many years and studied it and knew it, that it is necessary to involve interdisciplinary and diverse professions and people in a team, it's somehow still not happening, or is it just my impression? Or maybe what is your experience also within your studies? Like, was it something accented or even discussed?
We definitely talked about the ways how we can involve people in the design process, and also how more complex team can be helpful. And I think there's a big emphasis on that these days, at least in my school. But yeah, in practice, how much that really happens, I think that's a question. But I think a lot of companies now believe, or at least say, that they want to include people when they are designing for them. But yeah, I actually have like my thesis work, which I'm starting now, but I started before, about this topic. So it's about co-designing with the elderly, and I think it's super important. And I work together with a retirement home, and it's the first time of something like that happening there, or like anybody has never heard of something like that. So I guess it's still a novelty, but I think that's a good direction that we are going in.
And maybe in case of like tech companies and the digital products, especially the AI, it's even more problematic. Or Dominika, what can you say about that?
Yeah, the thing is, I cannot speak from the experience because I'm trying to avoid to work at a tech company as much as possible until I can not survive anymore and I have to give in. It's a very long answer to that, but yeah, because I don't think I'm shaped for that kind of environment. But that's why I cannot shame, or like I can only assume. And I think, yeah, my bias is that they are maybe say that they are inviting people in, but it's not that much but I can only like assume. But that's why we are, for instance, in AIX design, we are trying to really build the products or like the research on the community building and through the community-led research. So we are inviting a lot of different voices in the research, and different voices are not just for the papers or just for something, but they are celebrated, and we need like as many as possible, I think.
Yeah, I just had a thought that I think usually like what determines the success of a product is like how much of it is sold and to how many people. And I think that's not bad in general, but what could be bad is when the users are not conscious enough and they are not really aware of what they really need and want, like in general in life, or what their values are, and they're just falling for some of these loopholes that companies can use. So for example, like many of, I don't know, social media technologies are basically addictive to us, but like we could say like alcohol or like drugs, or there's like many things that are actually not good for us, but it's a weakness maybe, and then companies can make money off that and people use it, but it's not because it's a good thing to use.
Absolutely, I can relate to that. And also I observed it like recently with so many people leaving Instagram because of the Meta situation with Mark Zuckerberg. And I am also trying to move to some really decentralized platform, but it's really hard because it's somehow like a part of our everyday practice, no? Like the scrolling and the sharing and this idea of community. Like I don't know, maybe what is your opinion on that? Are you also planning to merge from Instagram?
I recently seen my friend posted like, I'm leaving this Meta social so I can have more socials, because now some people are going to Mastodon, some going to Blue Sky, some going to, there are more, I don't even remember. But then you end up with more socials, and then, yeah, it's now a bit hard, even though Mastodon, for instance, is here for a longer time, but I was not yet there. But I made the Blue Sky, which is also dependent on the guy corporation. So, but we are struggling a lot. But how do you build community if you don't have enough people there on some of the socials? Or that's what we are trying to do now. And what I seen people doing is that they go back to their own websites, to their own newsletters, to spread their agenda in a different way. So that is what we are also trying to be less dependent, because we are the slaves in a way to the algorithm and how they are always changing, how they are changing the visuals, how they are changing how it works. So we are trying to leave, but well, we left Twitter. I will say Twitter. We left Twitter, but now we left Facebook. I'm saying by AX design, like, but we are still on Instagram because it's the biggest source, and most people that are in the creative areas are there, and the LinkedIn. I don't know. LinkedIn is a bit. I don't know. Like, but how do you even? Like, we are there. Okay, so it's not so. It's fine. I don't know. It's fine. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But yeah, how do you build community without the platform? You either have your own or you move with whoever is moving. And then what was happening to TikTok, for instance, with the US ban, which was for one day. Then, okay, so then they can spread more of their some agendas. Yeah, it's a bit maybe to go more towards independence of the networks. But I don't know to what extent is that possible.
Yeah, I personally haven't really like left Instagram, and I don't feel like it's a pressing issue for me personally. But it's definitely a scary thought that how much influence like the leaders of that tech companies can have, and like how easy it is now to have like a very big influence on the whole world, because it's so globalized and technologically it's so easy to just reach people that the decisions of a few people or like a group of people can really change the lives of so many, and that's a scary thought. So
absolutely. I mean, this is also related to my next question about the power asymmetry in design. And here I have a quote by Judy Weitzman. She wrote, During the design process, the developer maps out a plan for how the technical system will be used. This plan can be thought of as inscribed in the infrastructure. The inscription includes programs of action for the users, defining roles to be played by users, and the artifact or information system. Being inscribed in this way, technology becomes an actant imposing its programs of action on its users. So here we see like just what we talked before, no, like the almost the monopoly about deciding the design of an application, for example, or how we should use it. What is the limit of text, the limit of time, temporal limits for a video, for example, to be published. So going with this to the control of time that is happening through technology. So maybe do you have some strategy, or did you ever like dealt with it, like how you approach the linearity of the time that is embedded in the devices, or like did you ever deal with this aspect of time? Maybe
how do you mean?
I mean, for example, how we are put to have this attention span, for example, how it's getting shorter and shorter, and so on, like how the technology is catching our attention, and how it is really designed to or spend some time with the technology, and also how it structures our daily life, daily program, you know, like how it replicates this ideas of the efficiency and productivity, and we only by accepting the technologies in our lives, we are somehow under its influence. So maybe it's a more philosophical question, but I think it's a really important.
I think I'm having a bit love-hate or maybe hate-hate relationship with that, because my screen time is humongous. Like, it's very big.
How many hours?
I cannot confess, but it's a lot, because also when I am working as in communications as well, and also before I was working in the art gallery, government institution. So it was always related to the spending time on social networks, and then how easy it is to fall once you are there, even though you are working and then you are checking your things. Where is the line between that? And so I'm having these waves of me trying to be on digital detox, and then like sometimes you cannot control. I don't know, it's just the primitive part of brain working, or you are resisting something, or you are trying because what I don't like the word, but there is this term for phones. It's like a adult pacifier, you know, that we are like, and I see this in my parents, and they are 60, but they are still like on their phones. So there is not even like, you are not smarter as you get. I don't know, I don't want to say it like that, but like it can happen to anyone at any age, even though you know the dangers and everything. So I have a problematic relationship with time and technology. But then what in the beginning you said something more which interests me a bit, like more from the point of perspective of AX design, on how there is a power asymmetry. And because I think, or one of the biggest things for me is how Silicon Valley may be the biggest monopoly is how we perceive technology, and how they are like shaping our views on that. And maybe relating to work in my place is that I'm trying, even through the AX design and through my own practice, I try to bring these alternatives, because if we are not bringing them, like then there is just one dominant narrative, and that's what I don't want. I want to like do something, even though it could seem funny or like a bit silly, but still it's like my way of dealing with it. And maybe then later it may emerge into something bigger, but just to do something. So we reduce, even though by 1%.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. And I think it's interesting because like for them, for like Instagram and the social media platforms, it's like users, number of users is one metric, but of course the time spent there is another metric, and how ethical it is to like optimize for time spent when you kind of know that it's not healthy after a while for people. So it's a very difficult question, I think, even for the company, because in some metrics they are great, but in some social metrics they are not so great. And how to do that better, because on the other hand, they do add some value, and they do like connect with people and with ideas sometimes. So they are not like completely useless. But what you said about like, well, you just spend so much time like scrolling, it's very true for me too, of course. And I think I do it mostly when I'm procrastinating on something and I start to do it. And it's kind of like a dopamine hit every time you see something. So I kind of feel I guess better because I feel like I'm accomplishing stuff, but I don't. And I can spend a long time doing that when I should do something else. And it's a very annoying feeling. And I know that like many people, especially like teenagers, like have a lot of problems with like comparing themselves to others, which is a big issue. That's a bit different. But getting lost, like losing track of time while feeling bad about yourself because you're procrastinating and you feel worse than others is definitely not something I think is good. But I don't know how to make it better.
Yeah, actually, it's also very paradoxical because the technologies like always had this promise of saving our time, of doing tasks for us, or so that we have more time to do other things. But it seems that something is not right there, because also, as you confirmed, I feel like I have less and less time and feel more like pressured with all the new technologies, all the hypes and things to follow. Yeah, so this is still a issue to somehow solve, how to deal with. But one great example is what Dominika's AI X Design initiative of slow AI. So could you please tell us something more about what slow AI is and what it means in terms of technology?
As I was saying also in the workshop, the term slow AI, we just stole it a little bit. We found it on the internet. I think it was an interview with Timnit Gebru. She's the one researcher that was fired from Google because she exposed the bias in the language models. And so she mentioned it as I don't even know if it was intentional or just randomly, but she mentions the term and we really loved it. So we took it and we owned it, kind of. And then we named our project that we are working on for the past year, Slow AI. And within the Slow AI, there are different narratives, 3 different ones. Because even when you say Slow AI, it can again seem like it's one thing that we're gonna propose, but it's not like that, because within the Slow AI, there could be different ways of dealing with the AI, because there are also different aspects. And but I think what in this fast-paced time, one thing that is revolutionary is to slow down or to rest. That's what I think. So slow AI is in a way another way of looking at the relationship with technology, I would say. But then when specifically, to the time related, we were having these 3 streams, and one of them was ancestral AI, and it's how we relate to time and pace, and that's what we are exploring as well within the slow AI stream.
Perfect. And maybe the last question I have prepared is related to the agency that we have as users, or that maybe we should reclaim, because we are often in a position of a very passive user, accepting the design uncritically. So especially with the AI hype, where there's this prevailing narrative that AI will help you with everything and transform your life, everything. You can find it like in fridges, washing machines, like what does not contain an AI is like not worth it. So how can we, as like the basic users, differentiate between what technologies do we really need. Like, would you have some recommendations about like how to critically reflect on this?
I think it really comes down to individuals and values, and people should think about what's important for them and why they are acting in a certain way, and if that thing is in line in what they want to do. But that requires a lot of work and consciousness, and if everybody thought like that, and you need some slowing down for that too, then we wouldn't just act on these things that we immediately want to do and then regret 10 minutes later or the next day. So that it's the same, I think, with fast food and with like anything we do that's not, we know that it's not really healthy for us, but we still do it because we like it in the moment. So I think we do it a lot. It's just in technology, it's a bit more centralized in a way, what we discussed, that a couple of people can really have a huge influence. But for example, for my favorite chips, you know, there are like many brands I could take, and they can like compete, and it's a competition really. But here it's more like a monopoly. But I think just it's an individual choice, and then if individually we are doing better, then the communities get better, and then the products get better, because otherwise nobody's using them. And so I think it can be a bottom-up decision, but it's not easy. And you can also see this in AI algorithms because of how the data sets are biased, but the data sets represent humans. So that's why we have so much, racist content, because historically, and the data you can find online and in movies and everywhere, like that's what the AI could picked up. So that just represents us.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
I will have a controversial take from person coming like from AI and design. Like, we don't need AI for everything. Like, I'm really not into this techno-solutionism for like everything. So one thing is to think if we need to have something that has AI, and then we are always voting with our usage of the things. So if we are not using something, it's not gonna get the profit, right? Or with our attention, as you said, that is the thing. We are voting with the attention, and if we are not giving the attention to things, it will not have the profit. But also, then I don't like about this my own take that it's putting the pressure on the person, because then we have to be the conscious ones. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, it's like very evident that it's a great business, you know, like not only the companies that say AI products or AI technologies, because also AI is such a broad term that somebody says AI, but what is it actually? Like AI in a TV is that it's recalculating pixels, for example. Well, is it AI? But also it's not only the companies, but it's also like the services with AI. For example, they sell you lectures or courses on to learn how to do with AI, and so on and so on. So everybody, tries to really be part of this hype. And I think it is important to see it critically. And just as you, Dominika, said, like we don't need AI for everything. And maybe like this is really just the hype that will then go down, and something else will come. And so maybe to sum up, I wanted to ask you, because I know that you have very interesting projects going on. So maybe what are your current and upcoming projects that you would like to share with us? Emese?
One project is the one I mentioned about co-designing with the elderly. I think it's very cool. I already held 3 workshops at Máltai Szeretetszolgálat in Batthyányi tér, and they were very, very interesting. And now I will hold 3 more workshops in this semester in a more luxury type home to compare those results to. So I think it's super interesting, and it has a lot of potential. So on what we discussed, how to include people and how to give them a voice, and how maybe that can result in better products, or will it not, and what other benefits that process has. So I think it's a very interesting one. And then there's another project I'm quite excited about that I've been working on for a while, and we are designing with true friends these green sun shades. So it's like the shade cells when you have like a triangular canvas on top and like 3 poles hold it, and then we are making it in a green version. So we like plant some kind of green plants like ivy or something in pots around these rods, and then we let that like make this shading material on top, if that makes sense. It's like a canopy, like a horizontal canopy.
Ah, perfect. But environmental friendly.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So like making more green spaces in cities has many benefits, because it's cooling down the temperature, it's better for mental health, and it helps with the heat island effect, because we have a lot of concrete everywhere. So making more green spaces is always nice, and if we can combine that with shading, it's even better. So yeah, I hope this made sense. It's a bit hard to explain. Yeah.
What am I most excited about right now is that we are making a Slow AI festival this year in May in Amsterdam. So any of you, if you want to join that, you are invited very much. And because finally our community is very much online, and it's very hard to maintain, but still it's still maintaining somehow. But now for the first time we are going to meet IRL, like all of these people that are doing these weird things. We're going to be in one space, and that's I find very exciting, because even though like thanks to the connectivity and the internet we can do this, but then you still cannot really supply the real, the real thing, the real contact. So that is one thing, is the Slow AI festival in Amsterdam. And then of course I'm just in the middle of my PhD life, the second PhD life. So I'm now researching this thing called Girl AI, which I just made up. So I'm finding it fascinating that I can do this, and I'm excited to see what kind of outputs this will have in the terms of interactive artworks, but also the more workshops in the future. And I'm trying to see if I can actually have workshops where I can go to some of the communities that are influenced by some of the AI problems that AI creates. Not just because this was also amazing to be here, but it always depends who comes, who wants to come. And then sometimes people don't have these like resources to come even to, and they are the most influenced. So I want to find a way how to actually join some communities that would not be able to come here. But that's like, yeah, I'm thinking about it, how to do this.
Amazing. Thank you very much for sharing also your future project. And now we have time for the questions from audience, if there are any. Some nice question. Maybe. Well, in any case, you can still ask afterwards. But thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you, Emese and Dominika, very much for the talk. And we will be following your further projects. So thank you very much. An applause for you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Yeah, thank you.